Mike Johnson feels like immigrants are voting. It's not true. The math says that it isn't. Arithmetic has proven him wrong, but it doesn't matter. It feels true. It feels correct. And he will use that feeling to stop blue votes. Where's the optimism? Waldo, you said optimism in the title. I do have some optimism, okay? I'm still going to vote for Joe Biden if he's the nominee. I am. Why am I going to do that? Is he old and decrepit? Yes. But he tells the truth more often. He is more honest. He is more correct. He is more reality-based. He is more rational, obviously. So I will support the blue candidate, and I'll vote blue no matter who. Why is that? Am I a zealot as well? No.
Hello human, it is me Canuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
The Supreme Court, over this past 2 weeks, has absolutely changed our country. You can't see it yet because the people in charge are still sane. If we get less sane people in charge of our government, they will break the country. The immunity clause that the Supreme Court pushed is insane. If Donald Trump gets hold of that, he will make the country worse. Severely, noticeably, wildly worse. What can be done to defeat that? I thought nothing could be done. And I was a bit
Because
doomer.
you have faith in blue.
Because I have faith in blue? No, because I trust them more. Trust isn't faith. There's a slight difference. Trust is based on past actions and guesstimates about the future. That's trust. Faith is belief. I don't have faith in the Dems. I have trust. I have more trust in the Dems than the Republicans. That's not faith. Faithful people will tell you that there is no difference and stuff like that, but they're believers. You can't trust believers. They believe whatever they want. It's the funny thing about belief. You can't trust it. There is a way to beat the Supreme Court. There is only one way to beat the Supreme Court, and that is with a constitutional amendment. If we got a blue House and a blue Senate and a blue president, they have a chance to pass a constitutional amendment that would undo the damage that the Supreme Court has done. It's very unlikely. Even with a 51% House and a 51 blue Senate and a blue president, they still couldn't get it passed, I suspect. But they can try. There's a chance for that to happen. And that's what politics is about, is creating the chances, pushing for the things that create the best chance. Dems have the best chance to fix what the Supreme Court has done wrong. The Republicans will use what the Supreme Court has done wrong to harm you, to harm me, specifically. And I'm not even kidding. Harm me. Here is Elon Musk saying that anyone who opposes the SAVE Act is a traitor. All caps, traitors. Here is Elon Musk saying those who oppose this are traitors. All caps, traitors. What is the penalty for traitors again? Death, Elon. If I don't support the SAVE Act that was pushed by Mike Johnson, I deserve to die. That is what he is telling you. I need to be killed by the state because I don't support Pastor Mike Johnson's SAVE Act. That's the richest man in the world, y'all. He owns the most powerful communication device to ever exist. And he is calling for literally my death. I'm over-exaggerating a little bit because he doesn't know who I am. But he's calling for the death of anybody. The trial, the bringing up on charges, prosecuting, and the punishment of anybody who doesn't support this one specific piece of policy. That's insane. I've never said that about anybody before. You can be anti-constitutional if you want. That doesn't mean that I want you captured by the law, tried, and then executed. You can be a monarchist in my country if you want to. If you want to come in here into my chat and tell me how we need a king, I'll entertain it.
And what does he stand to gain from it?
What does Elon stand to gain from it? Right-wing power, right-wing authoritarianism, more users on his platform. He doesn't know that the SAVE Act is a bad idea. It will disenfranchise millions of American voters, intentionally, willingly. Pastor Mike Johnson does not want those voters to vote because those voters vote blue. The SAVE Act by Pastor Mike Johnson is not to help you. It is to help himself. It is to benefit the Republicans. They will win more elections if this thing gets passed, because the blue voters will be kicked off the rolls. And I'm not talking illegal voters. Illegal voters don't exist. They're not real. Analogy, Mike Johnson and Elon are pushing for a no leprechauns voting strategy. No leprechauns are allowed to vote. But there are millions of people in the country who are short, Irish, and wear green. It's going to disenfranchise all of them. They're not leprechauns. They simply are short, Irish, and wear green sometimes. And it's going to kick them off the rolls, even though they're allowed to vote, to keep leprechauns out, which aren't real. That's what they're doing. That is the analogy that I just made up off the top of my head. If you like that analogy, press the thumbs up button, press the subscribe button, press something.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
They want to put laws together to keep the imagined, not real, illegal voters off the rolls. They don't exist. But what will happen, millions of actual Americans will also be kicked off. And they will have to go through hoops. They will have to jump hurdles to get their voting back, their voting rights back, to get their registration done. They will have to jump through hoops. Some of them won't do it because maybe Joe Biden's not fucking worth it. Maybe jumping through those hoops to vote for milquetoast, sputtering old man Biden, they don't do. This is a chessboard. And Elon is an idiot. Calling for the death of anybody who doesn't particularly support a specific piece of legislation is insane. That is authoritarian fascism right there. But Elon is an authoritarian fascist. I just wish that the richest person in the world didn't own the most powerful communication tool ever to exist. That sounds like dystopia to me. It really does. Sci-fi novels about just evil future dystopians would put that together. They'd be like, yeah, the guy who has the most money buys the communication device and then tells everybody what's true. I mean, you can only point to 1984 for so long before your arm gets tired and your finger falls off. So here is a little bit more about the SAVE Act. Here you go.
But is a bastion for free speech for Nazis.
Yeah, it's a bastion for free speech for Nazis. Speaker Mike Johnson wants to stop undocumented immigrants from voting, but they don't. Will prevent non-citizens from voting in federal elections. The Safeguard American Voters Eligibility Act proposes that anyone registering to vote in the U.S. elections must first provide the proof of citizenship. This would be an amendment to the 1993 voter thing, blah, 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 boring. Unimportant. There's an issue with the SAVE Act. It's attempting to tackle a problem that does not exist. The problem doesn't exist. Conservatives used to be against overpowering government. They used to be about small government. And part of small government means that you don't pass laws that don't matter. You don't pass laws that are unnecessary. Getting rid of unnecessary laws used to be a conservative talking point. Not anymore. They don't care anymore. Conservatives just want to empower themselves, benefit the conservative cause. That is the only reason to pass a law. That is the only thing that they have going for them. That is the only purpose that they have any longer. Move the conservative cause forward. Get more power for the conservatives. They don't care if it's against the law. They don't care if they have to invent crimes. They don't care if they have to imagine millions and millions of illegals voting. They'll just tell you that they do. It's not true. It's not real. It's not correct. But they'll tell you and make you feel a certain way. And this is why it's so hard to beat them. Do undocumented immigrants vote in the U.S. elections? It's already a federal crime for non-citizens to vote in state and federal elections. Only a handful of that's a hard sentence. Only a handful of municipalities in 3 states, California, Maryland, and Vermont, and Washington, D.C., allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. Local elections. If you're a non-citizen, these 3 states will let you vote in local situations because you live there. You have some say in the locality. Multiple studies confirm that instances of undocumented immigrants voting in state and federal elections are incredibly rare, less than 1%. It's so rare, in fact, that even Johnson appears to have trouble justifying the bill. We all know intuitively. We all know. When a Republican says we all know intuitively, he means feels. This is the most feeling sentence anyone has ever said. We all know intuitively that a lot of illegals are voting in federal elections, but it's not been something that is easily provable because it's a feeling you have, Mike. It's not real. It's a feeling you have. We don't have that number because it's not real, Mike. It's not real. According to a study in the 2016 election from Brennan Center, election officials only referred 30 cases out of 23 million votes for a further investigation of non-citizens voting. That amounts to 0.0001% of suspected, not proven, instances of non-citizens voting out of total ballots cast. 0.0001% are suspect. That suspect might actually turn out to be not correct, not proven, and the actual number of illegal votes is even smaller. He does not care about the facts. Conservatives do not care about the facts. They never have. It's a bumper sticker. Facts don't care about your feelings is nonsense. It's horseshit. They use to make themselves feel better about their feelings. They have feelings. Mike Johnson feels like immigrants are voting. It's not true. The math says that it isn't. Arithmetic has proven him wrong, but it doesn't matter. It feels true. It feels correct. And he will use that feeling to stop blue votes. He will use that feeling to get a bill passed, the SAVE Act, that will reduce the number of people who are able to vote against him. And Elon's on board for it because he bought into the bullshit. He bought into Mike Johnson's horse shit. And in doing so, he has now created an ideology within his own head, Elon has, that says I should die because of it. I want people to vote, and I don't support the SAVE Act. Hence, I am treasonous. I need to be arrested, brought up on trial, found on charges, and executed because of his ideology. That is where we are heading. That is the world that we will get if you don't vote blue. So is this optimism? Kind of. Vote blue or you're going to die. Vote blue or ideology will murder people. Vote blue or the richest man in the world with the most powerful communication device ever known will call for your death. I guess that's optimism. I don't think that's optimism, but it might be.
I don't think you know what optimism is.
Maybe I'm doing optimism wrong.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.